A grandma tased her son-in-law over who got to press the smart tree button. A family canceled Christmas because someone said, "Die Hard is not a holiday film." Two cousins nearly got arrested after fighting over a gingerbread monopoly hotel. These are not movie scenes. These are real police reports, viral posts, and family group chat disasters from actual Christmases. We dug up the 49 most ridiculous holiday fights families truly had. Number 17 involves a ferret in a scarf and a snow-covered pie. If your family has ever argued over cranberry sauce or ugly sweaters, drop your wildest Christmas fight in the comments and hit subscribe because you need to see what happens at number 30 and why the dog got the final word. 1. A large family gathered for Christmas dinner when an aunt accused her grown son of hiding the special holiday forks because he wanted everyone to use plastic ones. The claim sounded absurd, yet everyone gasped. The uncle jumped in and swore he saw the forks in the dishwasher earlier, which made the aunt glare like she witnessed a crime. The teen cousins searched the kitchen and treated it like a treasure hunt. The grandmother muttered that the forks had a curse, which made the youngest child scream. The father opened a drawer and found the forks sitting on top in plain sight. Everyone blamed everyone else. The mother rolled her eyes and said the real fight was over control, not forks. The family laughed afterward in confused relief. 2. A young woman tried to lead a peaceful gift exchange when her older brother declared that her wrapping style looked like a failed science project. The comments sparked loud reactions and made the cousins giggle. The grandfather claimed the wrapping insult violated family honor, which made the woman glare with dramatic flair. The brother picked up a present and shook it like a rattle, which annoyed the mother. The toddler shouted that shaking gifts was forbidden, which shocked everyone. The neighbor who joined for dinner suggested a vote on best wrapping, which turned the living room into a noisy contest. The father held a score sheet and acted like a referee. The winning present belonged to the dog, which created stunned silence. The family accepted the result with dramatic pride. 3. An older uncle stormed into the dining room and accused his teenage nephew of stealing the final deviled egg during the Christmas buffet. The nephew denied it with dramatic hand gestures that made everyone stop eating. The aunt shouted that she saw the nephew near the platter earlier, which created immediate panic. The grandmother called it a sacred family recipe moment, which made the toddler cry. The two began a slow-motion wrestling match that slid across the living room rug. The father stepped in and nearly slipped on a candy cane. The dog barked like a referee. When the mother opened the fridge, she found the missing egg on a top shelf. Everyone froze and accepted mutual guilt. 4. A young father placed the pickle ornament on the Christmas tree first and proudly posed like he completed a heroic mission. His sister shouted that the pickle must always go last, which made the cousins gasp like a scandal broke. The grandmother insisted the rule began in 1975, which confused everyone. The father refused to move the ornament. The sister marched forward and tried to relocate it, which led to a tug-of-war under the tree branches. The lights flickered like the house sensed danger. The mother grabbed hot cocoa and watched with exhausted acceptance. When the ornament slipped from their hands, it rolled under the couch. The entire family stared at the couch like it hid forbidden treasure. 5. An energetic aunt entered the living room holding a gravy boat while arguing with her cousin over the eternal question about whether Die Hard counts as a Christmas film. The cousin declared it did not. The aunt raised the gravy boat like a dramatic prop and insisted it absolutely did. The teenagers gathered around them as if they were watching a courtroom trial. The uncle repeated that the movie had snow, which he claimed was enough evidence. The debate escalated until the aunt placed the gravy boat on the floor and announced she would cancel the family movie night. The younger children screamed in protest. The grandfather sighed and turned on the fireplace. The fight ended when the gravy boat spilled slightly. 6. Two brothers fought loudly over a limited edition ugly Christmas sweater. The younger brother claimed he spotted it first. The older brother insisted he had placed it on the chair earlier. Their mother begged for peace while clutching a plate of cookies. The sisters recorded the argument on their phones with delighted shock. The father tried to mediate but tripped over a pile of wrapping paper. The sweater stretched during the tug-of-war and suddenly ripped straight down the middle. Both brothers stared at the halves in stunned silence. The grandmother suggested they each wear one half. The brothers placed the halves on and posed angrily for a family photo. The entire room laughed at the ridiculous match. 7. A grandmother and her teenage granddaughter argued over whether TikTok dances belonged anywhere near Christmas caroling night. The granddaughter insisted the dances added joy. The grandmother claimed they ruined tradition. The neighbors watched from the porch with interest. The granddaughter performed a dramatic spin that nearly knocked over a nutcracker statue. The grandmother responded with a stern foot tap that signaled war. The father attempted to separate them but dropped a box of candy canes. The mother suggested they combine the ideas, which confused everyone. The grandmother agreed only if she could approve every dance move. The granddaughter laughed and performed a gentle step that made the grandmother smile. The entire family joined the caroling path with renewed confidence. 8. A father challenged his son-in-law to an arm wrestling match to decide who would carve the Christmas turkey. The family gathered around the table like spectators at a championship event. The grandmother clutched her pearls. The mother whispered that this felt unnecessary. The match began with both men shaking the table from pure effort. The teenagers shouted predictions. The dog jumped onto a chair for a better view. The father pushed too hard and the entire table leg snapped. The dishes slid toward the edge and the son-in-law caught the turkey before it fell. The room erupted in shocked applause. The grandmother declared the son-in-law the official carver. The father accepted defeat with dramatic pride. 9. A group of cousins opened a gingerbread board game during Christmas night and discovered a shortage of tiny gingerbread hotels. One cousin accused another of hiding the missing pieces. The accused cousin gasped as if framed for a serious crime. The adults sighed because they remembered last year's board game meltdown. The cousins argued louder until one threatened to call the police for justice. The youngest cousin cried from tension. The mother opened the oven and found the missing gingerbread hotels on a tray because someone baked them for extra realism. Everyone paused in disbelief. The cousins laughed and blamed holiday stress. The father placed the hotels on the board and declared a fresh start. Peace returned slowly. 10. A strict father banned his teenage son from saying Happy Holidays during Christmas dinner because he wanted the family to use only one phrase. The son responded by gifting him a mug that said, "World's okayest father," which created immediate chaos. The grandmother gasped so loudly that the dog barked. The sisters laughed uncontrollably. The mother pleaded for calm. The father stared at the mug like it delivered a personal attack. The son crossed his arms with victorious energy. The father finally sipped water from the mug to prove he accepted the joke. The entire table cheered with sarcastic applause. The evening continued with mixed greetings that confused everyone and entertained the neighbors who overheard the noise. 11. A sister refused to pass the cranberry sauce unless her younger brother admitted that Frosty came before Rudolph in the holiday ranking. The brother argued that Rudolph saved Christmas, which made the room shake with loud reactions. The mother tried to reach for the sauce, but the sister held it like a hostage. The father supported the brother, which created two family sides. The grandmother declared that both characters deserved respect, which confused everyone. The toddler yelled that snowmen were cooler, which pushed the fight further. After 10 heated minutes, the sister nudged the bowl across the table. The brother accepted victory with dramatic confidence. The whole family sighed with exhausted relief and returned to dinner. 12. A grandfather and his teenage grandson battled over the number of Christmas lights allowed on the house. The grandson wanted bright lights everywhere. The grandfather insisted too many lights would signal chaos. The neighbors watched the argument with interest. The grandson secretly flipped the breaker to demonstrate control, which made the house go dark. The grandfather marched to the garage and flipped it back with stubborn pride. The grandson repeated the stunt twice, which caused total frustration. The grandmother begged them to stop before the street talked. The mother stood with a hot chocolate and accepted the madness. They finally agreed on a balanced display. The whole family admired the lights and laughed about the earlier dramatic showdown. 13. An aunt entered the kitchen with a store-bought pie, even though the family declared a homemade-only dessert rule. The cousins stared at the pie like it carried forbidden energy. The uncle whispered that store-bought pies lack soul, which made the aunt glare fiercely. The teenagers pointed at the rules written on the fridge. The aunt defended herself and said time ran out. The pie mysteriously vanished moments later, which created panic. The younger kids found it face down in the snow outside. The aunt screamed with disbelief. The family gathered around the fallen pie like witnesses at a strange ceremony. The grandmother declared the rule removed. Peace returned slowly with relieved laughter. 14. Two uncles argued over who parked closer to the front door during the Christmas gathering. The first uncle claimed he arrived early. The second uncle insisted he deserved the spot due to age. The cousins watched the fight through the window with excitement. The uncles stepped outside and began measuring imaginary lines in the snow. The dog ran between them and ruined their measurement attempts. The mother shouted for them to come inside before dinner cooled. The first uncle moved his car triumphantly. The second uncle responded by parking sideways across the driveway with bold determination. The family clapped sarcastically. Eventually, both uncles apologized and walked inside with cold hands and warm embarrassment. 15. A group of cousins fought over whether Christmas gifts should be opened on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. The older cousins supported the Eve option. The younger cousins defended the morning tradition with fierce passion. The parents tried to ignore the building tension. Team Eve hid the wrapping paper in the laundry room and declared victory. Team Morning discovered this and staged a counterattack by blocking the hallway with pillows. The grandmother ended the war by revealing a secret stash of wrapping paper that she kept for decades. Everyone cheered. The father announced a compromise and allowed one small gift each night. The cousins accepted the decision and hugged dramatically in front of the tree. 16. A cousin accused another family member of stealing all the Wi-Fi bandwidth during Christmas dinner to secretly stream a show. The accused cousin denied everything with exaggerated innocence. The uncle shouted that the internet slowed down during every holiday, which created instant suspicion. The mother checked her phone and noticed the signal drop. The father stormed to the router cabinet like a detective. He changed the password and announced a security upgrade. The cousin who secretly streamed gasped in defeat. The teenagers begged for mercy. The grandmother reminded everyone that Christmas should involve connection, not conflict. They finally agreed to pause all streaming until dessert. Calm returned as everyone laughed at the electronic chaos. 17. An aunt brought her emotional support ferret to Christmas dinner, which surprised the entire family. The cousin called it a rat in a scarf, which triggered absolute chaos. The ferret ran across the table and nearly knocked over a candle. The younger kids screamed with equal terror and delight. The aunt defended her pet with fiery passion. The uncle tried to catch the ferret but slid across the floor. The grandmother held a blanket like a trap. The ferret finally curled up near the tree and calmed down. Everyone sat in stunned silence. The aunt announced that the ferret deserved dessert. The family sighed and returned to dinner with tired smiles. 18. Two siblings argued over who baked the better batch of reindeer cookies. The older sibling claimed perfect frosting. The younger sibling insisted on perfect texture. The parents judged the cookies with exaggerated seriousness. The older sibling secretly added hot sauce to the younger batch, which caused loud coughing and dramatic betrayal. The younger sibling accused the older one of sabotage. The cousins recorded the scene with excitement. The grandmother tasted both batches and declared both equally chaotic. The older sibling attempted to hide the hot sauce bottle but failed. The younger sibling demanded a rematch. The parents agreed to supervise the next round. Everyone laughed as the chaos faded into holiday cheer. 19. A teenager refused to wear matching Christmas pajamas during the family photo session. The mother begged for cooperation. The father paced back and forth with stress. The younger cousins formed a pretend jury and held a fashion trial with dramatic pointing. The teenager stood in the center and defended personal style. The grandmother acted as judge and tapped a spoon for order. The verdict required the teenager to wear the pajamas for one single photo. The teenager accepted with an eye roll. The photo session resumed and the dog posed perfectly. Everyone laughed afterward and admired the final picture. Peace returned to the living room as the family enjoyed cookies. 20. An in-law complained that the host used too much tinsel on the Christmas tree and declared it a fire hazard and a moral failure. The host glared with disbelief. The teenagers giggled. The grandmother said the tinsel looked magical. The in-law tugged at a strand to demonstrate the issue, which made the whole tree shimmer dramatically. The father defended the decoration style and stood between them. The mother suggested removing a small amount for balance. The argument quieted slowly. The dog sat under the tree and stared at the falling tinsel. Everyone eventually agreed the tree looked beautiful. The night continued with fresh energy and relieved laughter. 21. A brother challenged his sister to a silent night contest during a crowded Christmas gathering. The mother begged them to behave. The father stood nearby with tired amusement. The cousins formed a circle and held their breaths. The sister lasted 8 seconds before laughing. The brother lost focus after hearing the dog sneeze. Everyone shouted that both failed. The grandmother demanded a rematch to restore family pride. The siblings attempted again, but the uncle dropped a candy cane, which made them burst out laughing. The younger kids danced around the defeated contestants. The mother announced the contest officially over. The father declared the dog the only winner. Peace returned with soft chuckles around the tree. 22. A loud feud broke out over the placement of the wise men in the family nativity scene. One cousin insisted they should arrive on January 6th. Another cousin claimed they belonged there on Christmas Eve. The grandmother held the tiny wise men like fragile evidence. The uncle grabbed a dining chair and lectured everyone on tradition. The younger kids kidnapped the wise men and hid them behind the couch. The adults panicked and searched the entire house. The mother found the wise men in a toy truck near the stairs. The father placed them back carefully. Everyone agreed the scene looked complete. The cousins accepted defeat and laughed about the dramatic operation. 23. A cousin brought a vegan roast to Christmas dinner. The uncle said it needed a blessing and poured a tiny splash of bacon grease on it. The cousins screamed with shock. The grandmother demanded respect for all food choices. The mother pushed the uncle toward the sink for reflection. The younger cousins stared at the roast like it carried ancient mystery. The father sliced the main turkey to distract everyone. The cousin carried the vegan roast outside for fresh air. After a long discussion, the uncle apologized with awkward charm. The family gathered again and ate peacefully. The cousin even shared a small piece of the roast with cautious pride. 24. A heated argument started when two siblings debated whether the dessert was figgy pudding or fig jam. The older sibling insisted the name mattered more than the taste. The younger sibling held the spoon like a debate trophy. The cousins created a spelling contest to settle the fight. The grandmother judged the event with strict seriousness. The mother placed extra napkins nearby in case the pudding turned into a weapon. The father sat at the table and shook his head. The siblings spelled confidently but still disagreed. The grandmother ended the battle by declaring it delicious either way. Everyone applauded the simple solution. The siblings hugged and shared the dessert with exhausted smiles. 25. A father and son fought over how long the Christmas lights should stay on each night. The son secretly changed the timer settings. The father changed them back. The neighbors watched the blinking routine with amusement. The grandmother suggested turning off the lights at midnight for balance. The mother supported the idea. The son hacked the timer again using pure determination. The father unplugged the entire display in frustration. The sudden darkness stunned everyone. The dog barked at the disappearing glow. Eventually, both agreed on a shared schedule. The lights shone with calm brightness. The street admired the final result. The family enjoyed the new harmony. 26. A grandmother banned the annual ugly sweater contest after last year left glitter across the entire house. The teenagers refused to surrender the tradition. They held a secret contest in the garage. The uncle discovered them and acted like a security guard. The grandmother opened the garage door and gasped at the colorful chaos. The contestants struck dramatic poses. The mother held a broom and accepted her fate. The father judged the sweaters with fake seriousness. The grandmother finally laughed and allowed one official group photo. Everyone cheered. The teenagers celebrated their victory. The garage sparkled with leftover glitter. 27. A sister accused her brother of fake laughing at their father's jokes during Christmas brunch. The brother denied the claim with grand gestures. The father pretended not to hear. The cousins demanded proof. The sister grabbed a smart speaker and declared it would be used as a lie detector. The grandmother covered her ears to avoid stress. The mother insisted this was unnecessary. The brother answered the first question, and the speaker gave a random chime that shocked the entire family. The cousins screamed that the brother failed. The father burst into laughter. The sister claimed victory. Everyone returned to brunch with dramatic relief. 28. A family nearly split over the question of whether dishes should be rinsed before going into the dishwasher. The older relatives demanded rinsing. The younger ones refused to waste time. The argument took over the kitchen. The grandmother held the sponge like a sacred relic. The mother begged for cooperation. The father suggested a vote. The younger cousins hid the sponge behind the couch to force a truce. Everyone searched the house for 5 minutes. When the grandmother found the sponge, she raised it in triumph. The father announced a rotating rule. The family sighed in acceptance. Dinner continued peacefully. 29. An uncle claimed he invented the Santa tracker in 1993. The teenagers rolled their eyes. The uncle displayed a homemade diagram on a napkin. The grandmother nodded with amused pride. The mother asked for evidence. The uncle insisted the idea was stolen by unknown forces. The cousins inspected the napkin like detectives. The father tried to redirect the conversation toward dessert. The youngest child believed the uncle completely. The room shifted between laughter and disbelief. The uncle held the napkin high like a patent. Everyone finally applauded his creativity. Peace returned with warm holiday spirit. 30. A loud fight erupted over who controlled the Christmas playlist. The older relatives wanted classic songs. The younger relatives demanded modern hits. The cousins stole the Bluetooth speaker and hid it in a backyard snow fort. The mother stepped outside and saw the speaker glowing under the snow. The father requested a peace treaty. The grandmother declared that all songs deserved love. The cousins returned the speaker with dramatic flair. The family created a shared playlist. The living room filled with mixed music. Everyone danced with tired joy. The night ended with warm laughter. 31. A cousin was accused of smiling too much during serious Christmas carols. The older relatives believed smiling during somber songs ruined the sacred mood. The cousin insisted the smile was natural joy. The younger cousins created a fake punishment and placed a solemnity headband on the smiling cousin. The uncle pretended to host a courtroom scene. The grandmother sang louder to regain control. The cousin tried to stop smiling but failed instantly, which made the room explode with laughter. The father dropped onto the couch in exhausted amusement. The mother suggested singing cheerful songs instead. The headband eventually fell off during a dramatic spin. Peace returned, and the family continued caroling with renewed energy. 32. A pair of siblings battled over who received more presents when they were younger. The sister claimed the brother always got extra toys. The brother argued that memory played tricks. The parents overheard the argument and retrieved an old storage box filled with holiday memorabilia. Inside the box rested a 20-year-old gift spreadsheet. The grandmother gasped at the discovery. The cousins gathered around like historians studying rare artifacts. The spreadsheet revealed perfect balance between both siblings. The mother smiled proudly. The sister collapsed dramatically on the rug in disbelief. The brother raised his hands in victory. Everyone laughed at the pointless tension. The family returned to gift opening with relaxed joy. 33. A heated debate erupted when an aunt claimed peace on Earth was unrealistic. The uncle argued that Christmas required hope. The cousins listened with wide eyes. The grandmother entered the room and demanded calm. The aunt crossed her arms with firm conviction. The mother placed hot cocoa on the table and asked everyone to breathe. The father tried to lighten the mood by adjusting his Santa hat. The younger children chanted peace repeatedly, which created unexpected pressure. The aunt softened her tone. The uncle apologized with gentle sincerity. The tension dissolved slowly. Everyone agreed to spread kindness. The room filled with warm holiday spirit as the discussion faded into calm laughter. 34. A brother refused to say Merry Christmas until his sister admitted that the second Home Alone film outranked the first. The sister rejected the claim with strong confidence. The cousins watched the argument like devoted fans of a holiday debate show. The mother attempted to redirect them toward dessert. The father stated that both films brought joy. The grandmother sighed and adjusted her glasses. The brother stood firm. The sister stood firmer. Finally, the youngest cousin shouted that both films were great, which surprised everyone. The brother softened and mumbled a greeting. The sister laughed and accepted the truce. The family moved on with cheerful relief and resumed decorating cookies. 35. A family clashed over using real candles or LED candles on the Christmas tree. The grandfather insisted real candles created authentic spirit. The father worried about fire hazards. The mother suggested a safe compromise. The cousins watched with growing tension. The grandmother held a fire extinguisher for safety. The teenagers voted for LED candles for easy cleanup. The grandfather refused to surrender the idea. After a long discussion, the family agreed to light one real candle placed on a metal tray at the bottom of the tree. Everyone gathered to watch the flame flicker gently. The moment held peaceful energy. The grandfather smiled with victory. The room filled with warmth and holiday harmony. 36. A teenager posted a social media story titled "Family Chaos" during a loud Christmas moment. The entire family appeared in the background, arguing about cookie frosting. When the grandmother saw the video, she gasped and demanded removal. The teenager refused and said it captured honesty. The uncle discovered the story had reached the neighbor group chat. The mother dropped her spoon in shock. The father paced around the living room. The teenager finally deleted the post after a tense negotiation. The cousins teased the teenager for hours. Everyone promised to stay offline for the rest of the night. Calm returned, and the family continued decorating cookies together. 37. A father challenged his children to remain silent for 10 hours in exchange for $100. The children accepted with fierce determination. The mother whispered that this challenge felt impossible. The grandmother prepared snacks for support. The siblings sat on the couch and focused on breathing. The dog barked after a minute and broke their concentration. One child coughed intentionally. The other giggled in response. The father declared both eliminated after 7 minutes. The children protested with exaggerated outrage. The mother offered them cookies as consolation. The father kept the money with smug pride. The room filled with laughter as the challenge ended in predictable failure. 38. A family argued about whether Santa deserved a tip after delivering presents. The uncle claimed Santa required appreciation. The cousins debated the proper amount. The grandmother insisted kindness mattered more than money. The youngest child placed a single penny on a plate. The father added a handwritten review describing Santa as timely and cheerful. The mother shook her head at the spectacle. The siblings gathered around the plate as if judging a restaurant rating. The dog tried to take the penny. The entire room burst into laughter. The family left the plate on the windowsill for fun. Peace settled as everyone returned to their evening festivities. 39. An uncle insisted that fruitcake functioned as a holiday biohazard. The cousin disagreed and dared the uncle to prove it. The grandmother defended the fruitcake with intense passion. The uncle sliced a small piece with dramatic caution. The cousin ate the slice with complete confidence. The room fell silent. The cousin smiled triumphantly. The uncle staggered backward in disbelief. The mother rolled her eyes. The father declared the fruitcake officially edible. The cousin raised the remaining slice like a trophy. Everyone laughed at the unnecessary tension. The fruitcake became a surprising topic of celebration for the rest of the night. 40. A sister accused her brother of stealing her Christmas spirit because he replaced her bright decorations with plain ones. The brother claimed he improved the room. The cousins judged both sides with theatrical expressions. The mother entered and gasped at the dull decorations. The sister demanded a handwritten apology written in elegant calligraphy. The brother refused and argued about personal style. The grandmother suggested a decorating compromise. The father placed both styles next to each other to test the look. Everyone agreed that mixing both created a balanced design. The brother wrote a short apology. The sister accepted it with dramatic grace. The evening continued with peaceful energy. 41. A family divided into two groups over the order of Christmas movie marathons. One group wanted to watch films by release year. The other demanded a strict universe timeline. The cousins created two separate viewing rooms and decorated them like rival clubs. The grandmother tried to bring peace with cookies, but both sides refused to abandon their rules. The father wandered between rooms like a confused referee. The mother rolled her eyes and shut off the hallway lights. The youngest child suggested combining both lists, which confused everyone. The family finally agreed to alternate the films. Both rooms merged into one crowded space. Laughter replaced the earlier rivalry. The marathon continued with warm energy. 42. A teen posted a dramatic photo of the chaotic Christmas kitchen and titled it "Family Meltdown." The entire family discovered the post within minutes. The grandmother gasped with absolute shock. The uncle shouted that the picture made the kitchen look too messy. The mother demanded the post be removed. The teen argued that it showed real life. The cousins gathered around the phone like paparazzi. The father paced behind the couch. After a long debate, the teen deleted the post. Everyone sighed with relief. The grandmother insisted on cleaning the kitchen immediately. The family worked together and laughed about the earlier chaos. Dinner regained its calm rhythm. 43. A father challenged his children to build a snowman without arguing. The children accepted with tight smiles. The grandmother supervised from the porch. The siblings began shaping the base but disagreed on the height. The father reminded them of the rule. The siblings tried again but fought about the hat. The mother watched with warm amusement. The dog stole the carrot nose and sprinted across the yard. Both children chased the dog and forgot the challenge. The father declared the snowman incomplete. The siblings laughed and placed a pine cone nose instead. The grandmother applauded their teamwork. The snowman stood crooked but proud. The family posed for a picture with joyful energy. 44. A mother insisted on a perfect family card photo for Christmas. The father stood stiffly. The teenagers looked annoyed. The younger kids made silly faces. The grandmother tried to maintain order. The mother requested everyone stand closer. The father stepped left. The teenagers stepped right. The younger kids rolled on the floor. The dog barked loudly. The mother tried again. The family finally held the pose, but the camera timer failed. Everyone groaned dramatically. The mother reset the timer with determined energy. The final photo captured the family mid-laugh, which created surprising charm. Everyone loved the unexpected result. Peace returned as they admired the picture. 45. A family fought over who should hide the Christmas pickle ornament. The older relatives believed the honor belonged to the eldest member. The younger relatives insisted it should be chosen at random. The grandmother held the pickle with reverence. The teenagers created a wheel of chance using cardboard and markers. The father spun the wheel dramatically. The dog barked every time the wheel clicked. The mother lit the tree, waiting for the decision. The wheel landed on the youngest cousin. The older relatives gasped. The youngest cousin accepted the role with joyful pride. The pickle was hidden carefully. The entire family searched together and laughed with excitement. 46. A cousin claimed that her handmade wreath was superior to every decoration in the house. The aunt disagreed and presented her own creation. The mother held both wreaths with patient hands. The grandmother declared it a holiday art contest. The cousins circled the room like judges at a fair. The father held flashlights to highlight details. The younger children clapped dramatically. The dog sniffed both wreaths with confusion. The grandmother delivered her verdict and declared both equally charming. The aunt and cousin accepted the tie with hesitant smiles. The wreaths were hung side by side on the front door. The family admired the display with warm satisfaction. 47. A teen claimed she had mastered gift wrapping skills and challenged the entire family to match her style. The siblings tried wrapping presents with strong determination. The father folded corners unevenly. The mother taped the paper too tightly. The grandmother accidentally tore her wrapping sheet. The teen shook her head with gentle arrogance. The cousins created a judging table. The dog sat beside the presents. Everyone revealed their wrapped gifts at the same time. The teen maintained her title proudly. The father held his misshaped gift and laughed at his failure. The family placed all the gifts under the tree and celebrated their effort. 48. A family held a gingerbread house competition. The teenagers built a tall design. The younger kids created a tiny cottage. The parents attempted a modern style. The grandmother built a simple structure with calm focus. The uncle added too much frosting, and the house collapsed. The room erupted with laughter. The grandmother won the contest with steady skill. The teenagers protested dramatically. The younger kids cheered. The father recorded the moment for memories. The grandmother smiled proudly. Everyone gathered around the table and tasted the leftover candy. Peace returned as the family admired every creation. 49. The final fight of the night began when the family argued over who should say the end after the traditional reading of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." The older relatives believed elders should hold the honor. The younger relatives argued for fairness. The grandmother held the book with authority. The father pointed to the dog as a joke. The room fell silent. The dog barked once at the perfect moment. The entire family erupted with joy. The grandmother declared the dog the official winner. Everyone applauded with warm holiday energy. Christmas ended with laughter across the room. So these are the 49 ridiculous Christmas fights families actually had. Every gift torn, every cookie dropped, every argument started from absolutely nothing. And somehow the dog still walked away with the final victory. If your family has ever argued over sweaters, ornaments, or cranberry sauce, drop your wildest Christmas fight in the comments and hit subscribe because the next video is even more unhinged than this one.